So I know it's not time, but they're grapes here, and I'm really curious to try verdicchio on the vine. So I'm going to taste one. But could you talk to me about when you are actually going through the vineyard, what you're looking for, what determines a ripe verdicchio grape?
Well, the one thing is which I think is quite.
Whoa! That's how you wake up in the morning. Yeah, holy moly! Interesting experience to have the grape like this so early in its life cycle. But verdicchio comes from the root verde, which means green, and this is as green as it gets. It's almost kind of like neon. There's like the root of why we call it verdicchio. That's awesome. I can't wait to come back and try them when they're riper.
Yeah.
Let's go drink it now.
Okay.
Enough of this. I'm guessing it's obvious how much I love La Marche. Nestled between the mountains and the eastern coastline of central Italy, it's known for its sandy beaches, fancy shoes, amazing fish, shipbuilding, and verdicchio, one of my favorite underappreciated white wines. Michele Bernetti of Umani Ronchi not only rocks a pair of Todds, the famed shoemaker of the region, but he and his family have been producing verdicchio here from some of the oldest vines in the region. So we're in the heart of the Marche. This is verdicchio. Verdicchio is the classic grape here. Could you talk about its connection to the culture and the people of the Marche?
Well, verdicchio is, in some ways, yes, it's really reflecting the character of our people from Marche. It's a wine that normally is not too aromatic, but is very consistent on the character, on the palate. It's one which has beautiful aging potential, for instance, and Marche people actually is, I think, is the second longest average life region in Italy.
On labels in Italian wine when they're made from old vineyards, it's vigna vecchia.
Yes,
so
vecchia vigna.
Vecchia vigna.
Yeah,
so old vines.
Yes.
With this in particular, when you're tasting the grapes or tasting the wine, what would you say is the difference between when you try the wine from old vine versus young vine?
Normally you have very interesting character that is, I don't want to talk about minerality because it's, I think it's an inflation of use of this word. There's two, but you have this salinity, this bit of taste of salty that is very typical of the old vines. And when you taste the wine from the tank directly, right after the fermentation at the winery in November, for instance, you very often recognize that this is the wine that is coming from Vecchia Vigna, even if you don't know. So the vines are always in very good conditions. 50 years old vines is less vigorous, less productive, so lesser bunches and definitely more quality.
I'm right next to a beautiful example of an old vine, and what makes old vines so interesting to wine nerds like myself is they tell so many stories from the grapes to the wine. Their history, and they each have their own personality. Michele was telling me earlier that you have to be the highest level pruner to even come work in this vineyard because every vine has to be pruned differently. And verdicchio is really interesting because it's a non-aromatic varietal, but what it has is texture. And these old vines produce wines of immense texture, richness, and density that I think make verdicchio, in my opinion, one of the greatest white wines of not just Italy, but the world. And it's something that I think more people should be checking out. It is unusual to have a state, province, or region in the plural form, but La Marche is just that, a unique confluence of so many types of landscapes, people, food, climates, that it just makes sense to call it more than one. Why is La Marche plural?
Okay.
And what does it mean?
The region is plural from different point of view. It's plural in terms of dialects. The dialect spoken in the north, near Pesaro and Urbino, is very similar to what you get in Emilia-Romagna. The dialect spoken in Ascoli Piceno is similar to the one in Abruzzo. We have a plural situation of mountains where you can ski 7 months a year, but at the same time we have the beach. And in between the hills that you saw in the Verdicchio area. So it's very plural. And in fact, the claim that the regional tourism was using was Marche, Italy in one region, because we have different, situation. The only thing we're missing is flat. I think only 3% of the territory is flat. So it's mostly hills, mountains, and coastline.
Well, I'm into this plurality.
Yes. So we can experience different things.